to start breaking down each team's positions to what they drafted. After we go through all of these teams and give it an overall grade, then we'll go through the power rankings and we'll look at the matchup of the week and a quick commissioner note from the commissioner, just breaking down the news of what's going on in the league. So we'll go back to the number one pick, Reina. We're going to take a look at his quarterbacks. His quarterbacks, we give it a B+. I really like Carson Wentz. Not a big fan of the Mariota as his backup. Wide receivers, I give it about a B-. Edelman, Cooper, Kirk, Christian Cook's pretty cool, but he doesn't have depth at all with Funchess and Washington as his backup. Tight end, we'll give it an A. We got Ertz, and then he's stashing Rudolph and Reed. That's a cool flex option down the road. His defensive special teams, I give it an A. We're looking at New Orleans. We're looking at Buckner. We're looking at Wagner, Collins. It's solid. Overall, I give it about an A-. I think he had a really good draft, and he's really coming into form. We look at Chris. I look at his quarterbacks. I'm giving it a D. I mean, Kyler Murray was his first quarterback pick. Jameis Winston in his backup. It's pretty trash. We look at his receivers. I gave it a B. I like Woods. I like Allen. Samuel's pretty cool. But then we look at behind it. We got John Brown. We got Marquise Brown, Keyshawn Johnson, DJ Chark. Like, after his starters, there just isn't much going on there. His running backs are cool. They're a cool B+. We're looking at Christian McCaffrey, Kerryon Johnson. And then after that, it's just what's going on. Balaj, I'm sorry, a B+. It was a B at best. Balaj, Hill, CJ Anderson. There's tons to be desired at on there. Tight ends, I'm looking at a C+ because he just has Austin Hooper. And, Hooper's bound to have a really good season, but at what point, when? And he doesn't have a backup. Defensive special teams, it's a D. He doesn't have the greatest IDP, in Kansas City's his defense. What the fuck? I'll give it a C+ overall. Like, at best, I think that's being pretty lenient. We look at the power game. His quarterbacks, I give it a C at best. Russell Wilson and Sam Darnold. I think Sam Darnold is going to be the one that's going to give him the points. Receivers, I give it about a B-, considering what he had to draft with. We're looking at Tyler Boyd, Sanders, Landry. They're pretty cool pickups. But then there's a lot to be desired in this depth. We're looking at Humphreys. I really like DK Metcalf, Paris Campbell, A.J. Brown. Hurd could be something pretty solid. There's depth if they come through. Tight ends, I give it about a C. Greg Olsen would have been great about like 15 years ago, and 7 injuries later. And then defensive and special teams, I give it about a B-. Dallas is cool. His IDPs are pretty solid. Overall, about a C+. Bukaki, Joel. Quarterback, I give it about a B. Jared Goff's cool, but Jackson's his backup, and I don't like that at all. Wide receiver, I give it about a B-. He's got starters, but there's tons of question marks there, especially Golladay, Lockett, Davis, Parker. There's tons to be desired as well when we look at wide receivers. Running backs, it's an A. It's an A. There's no question about it. There's Zeke, there's Mac, there's Fournette. Even Fournette, like, it's a big maybe. And then McCoy was a solid pickup at the time, like 14th round, great. Tight end, I give it an A. I like OJ, and I really like Andrews, and I think he's got something going on great with those tight ends and flex. Like, they're both going to start eventually. Andrews is going to be probably, I think, one of the only passing weapons in that game. Defensive special teams, I give it about a B. It's a meh at best. Overall, about a B+. It's cool draft. We look at Team Boo Boo. We look at his quarterbacks, like, give it a C at best. Tom Brady's not the same Tom Brady anymore. Fitzpatrick is your backup. Like, what the fuck were you smoking before you get here? Or maybe you should have smoked when you got here. Wide receivers, I give it about a C-. I really don't like the idea that he drafted his only 2 good receivers were back-to-back Eagles. We're looking at Elshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Josh Gordon's your 3rd receiver, Deebo Samuel's your 4th. Like, I love Deebo, but he can't be starting right now. We don't know what we're going to get out of him. Michael Crabtree, Beasley, like, those are fucking trash. Like, that's trash. Running backs, like, Gurley was a cool pickup. Sonny Michel really saved you, because Melvin Gordon's probably not going to touch the field all year long. He's going to sit on your bench all year long. Your tight end, I like Jimmy Graham. I mean, I don't like Jimmy Graham. It's a C. Jimmy Graham's cool like 4 years ago. He doesn't do anything in the system that he's in now. And in the defensive special teams, I give it about a B minus. And why are you sitting on 5 defensive players? You do have Khalil Mack. That's going to save you. Overall, it's about a C. We look at the sixth draft pick, Speeding Bullets. Quarterback a B plus. It's because Drew Brees, like he's just playing. He's supposed to be digressing. So I don't know how I feel about that. Jimmy G is a great backup because the ceiling is very high for Jimmy G. Jimmy G, if he gets his shit together. Wide receiver A plus, A plus plus, like Adams, Thielen, Godwin. D.D. Westbrook, like, is your backup. Like, that's not a bad move. Like, once we figure out what's going on with Nick Foles, like, it could be a very solid pickup. We look at the running backs. It's an A also. Like, we're looking at Mixon. We're looking at Freeman, Lindsey. And Geis is your backup. Like, you're going to be all right with tight end, A, Kittle, and then defensive special teams, A. Like, there's no question about this. Like, you hit a home run in this draft. In my Thielen's number 7 pick, we're looking at quarterback. It's a C minus at best. Like Dak Prescott's he's not a fantasy quarterback. And Matthew Stafford was great about like 3-4 years ago. Bad. Wide receiver a D. Like there's major question marks. I'm looking at Pettis. I'm looking at Watkins, Crowder, Richardson, Marvin Jones. Like, it's just trash. Sorry, but it's trash. Running back, it's about a D minus. You have one legitimate starter on your team. That's James Conner, and we don't know what we're getting in year 2. Like, Tevin Coleman, we don't know what we're gonna get out of him either. I'm looking at Jalen Richards, your third running back. I'm looking at T.J. Yeldon. It should have been an F. Tight end, it's a B. Doyle and Cook, that's not a bad tandem. Defensive special teams, who cares? Your team sucks. Like, you're getting a D. We look at number 8, Mr. Incognito. We look at his quarterback. It's got to be Baker Mayfield. Solid. But it could have been an A, but you pick Mitch Trubisky. That guy's fucking trash. Fuck Trubisky. Wide receiver, A+. You have Evans, Hill, Mike Williams, AJ Green. And I didn't include the fact that you have Antonio Brown. Like, you can take them off your team and you're still going to be all right. And if he adds on to your team, like, you're going to be a big contender. Running backs, a B+, DJ, David Johnson. I do like the fact that you have the handcuff with Montgomery and Cohen. Like, that's really going to help you out. Tight end, a B, Ebron. Defensive special teams, a B, New England. I think overall, though, you got a B+. You would have got an A, but you drafted Trubisky, so that's all on you. We look at fourth down and bitches. I think he had a phenomenal draft. Phenomenal. We look at his quarterback. It's a B. Phillip Rivers, Cam Newton, not bad at all. I think we look at his running backs. I think they're very underrated. He got an A there. We look at Le'Veon Bell. We got Matt Breida. Austin Eckler, I still think is the best pick of the draft as far as like sleepers, steals, like, because he's going to be getting most of the touches. Singletary, I think, is great, especially after McCoy got traded. And we have Harris stashed over there in the bottom of his bench. Wide receivers a C+. There's tons of question marks there. T.Y. Hilton, Sterling Shepard. He just picked up Nelson Aguilar. Kenny Stills, I think he reached very high for it. And then Zay Jones. It all depends on what Josh Allen's going to do in that system. Tight end C+, David Njoku, and then we have the suspended Herndon. I like Njoku maybe this time around with a more familiar offense with Baker Mayfield getting comfortable. Maybe Njoku's going to do a lot of good things. Then defensive special teams, you got a B+. Like, he's got solid IDPs. And you got the Chargers defense. You got B-. Then we look at El Jefe. El Jefe, quarterback A-. A-. Watson's not bad. I mean, you can ask Devok. Devok's Watson's number 1 fan. I am personally not, but I do really enjoy the fact that he might be a good fantasy quarterback this year. Doesn't have a backup, though. And we look at his wide receivers. I think it's a C at best. He's got OBJ, who's battling injuries now, and that's about it. We got Will Fuller, who we know nothing about anymore. Michael Gallup. I don't think any receiver in that system other than Amari Cooper is worth a while. We got Sanu, Traquan Smith. That's it. Running backs, a C because outside of Nick Chubb, there's just tons of fucking question marks. I mean, Pollard's one of his starters. I like Madison. He's got 8 running backs. We stashed a whole shit ton of them, and maybe that's going to work wonders. And instead of diving into the waiver wire, he just dives into his bench. But I'm not surprised. I'm not impressed. A tight end, give it a D. I think it's trash. Because if I look at his tight end, like his tight end's like sitting in my 12-team leagues. Nobody wants him at 12-team in all of them, and he picked him high over in our league. Whatever. Defensive special teams, a B minus. Cleveland, whatever. But overall, it's a D plus. Another one I'm not impressed with. We look at Raquel with her quarterback. I give it about a B plus. Aaron Rodgers, like he had a disappointing season last year with his injury. Hopefully he rebounds. They do have a new coach in town, so maybe that makes things better. But she doesn't have a backup quarterback, which might draw some concerns. With the running backs, I give it a C. You only have really one starter with Delvin Cook, and then we look at Penny, we look at Howard, we look at Jones. When you only have one starter and the rest are just big maybes, it's not going to do you any wonders. Tight end, I give it about a B. Hunter Henry's a good option for Phillip Rivers. Defensive special teams, a B minus. I really like it's B minus. Houston, solid, but overall, it was kind of disappointing draft for her. She got a C plus, but knowing Raquel, she always finds a way to make it into the playoffs. We look at the 12th team in the draft. We look at Pop, who had a phenomenal draft as well. Probably one of the best drafts in the league. Look at a quarterback. I thought Matt Ryan was one of the sleeper quarterbacks of the draft, and unfortunately, fortunately for him, he picked up Matt Ryan in a decent position. Kirk Cousins as a cool backup just to cover a bye week. Wide receivers, I give it about a B. I really like the Hopkins. I don't like Ridley. Diggs, cool. Robbie Anderson, Hardman, Allison, like they're solid options. Running back, he got about a B. I like Aaron Jones. I don't know how I feel about Derrick Henry. Sorry, Luke. Drake, Hyde, Ito Smith are his backups. Like the backups are they're whatever. Tight end A plus Kelsey, and then defensive special teams A plus. He's got the best kicker in the league with Zerline, and he's got the best defense. And he picked him high with the Bears, which is a tier 1. Their defense is tier 1. All the other defenses are automatically on tier 2. Overall B plus. I mean, I know I said he had a phenomenal draft. I still think he's got a lot of cool puzzle pieces there. We look at the 13th pick of the draft. I'm looking at elite quarterback. I give it about a B minus. I don't like Big Ben anymore. I think Brissett's probably going to be the better option down the road. Wide receiver, I give it an A. I do like Thomas. I love Juju. I love Moore. Tyrell Williams. I think Anthony Miller, like just hiding as being a cool sleeper on that team, is going to be awesome as well. We look at the running backs. I give it about a B plus. I like Carson. I think Carson's going to be a workhorse over in Seattle. I don't think anybody should be afraid of Penny. Jacobs is going to be a workhorse in Oakland. We look at. I thought Damian Williams was a cool pickup, and then of course middle of the draft they signed McCoy, which kind of ruins the value of Damian Williams. Tight end, I get it about B minus. I like Waller. I don't like Vance McDonald. Defensive special teams. He's got Indy, and he's got some cool IDPs with Aaron Donald and Roquan Smith. Overall, I give it about a B. Lastly, we look at limo riding, shotgun riding, something, whatever. With Mike, I look at his quarterback. It's an A. When you can get the fantasy MVP and you get him in the second round, Patrick Mahomes, like you should be happy with that. With the running backs, I'm sorry, dude, you're getting an F. Like it fucking blows. James White is your number 1 running back. Peyton Barber is your number 2 running back. Ty Montgomery is your 3, and Frank Gore, like. I like Ty Montgomery. I like Frank Gore. I like those options, like to fill in some bye weeks, throw it into a flex, but I don't like the rest of your lineup. Sucks. Wide receivers, I give it about a B minus. I do like Kupp. I like Julio. I think those are going to be viable options for you. Tight end, I give it about a C. Delaney Walker, Tyler Eifert. Tyler Eifert's not even the number 2. Tyler Eifert's not even the number 1 tight end on that team. Defensive special teams, I give it about a B. I like Jacksonville. I like Gold. Overall, I give it about a C minus. And that's our draft breakdown. When we come back, we're going to go through the matchups of the week, and then we're also going to look at the power rankings, and then we're off for the day.